Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 240 for July 26, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I have the pleasure of being your host tonight, and luckily I have with me the dynamic duo, as I like to think of them. They're not sidekicks, they are superheroes in their own right. Let me introduce them, please, before we start the festivities this evening. The man in red, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
How do you dream that shit up?
You know, if you think I think about this beforehand, I just open my mouth and it comes out.
Dynamic duel. Like, where did that come from?
I watched Batman when I was a kid. I don't know. I mean,
welcome everyone to another show. We've got a lot of news tonight.
How do you dream that shit up? I've been hosting this show for 7 years. I don't know.
That's the other thing I want to mention, man. 240 shows. That's quite an achievement.
Weird,
240. Wow.
7 years. You know, if we had like rabid fans, somebody would be in the chat room right now going, "Oh, that's bullshit. He said that in episode 110." So, you know, luckily, our fans don't care. Thank you. I love you. I love you all. Thank you. And speaking of not caring, no, wait, he cares a lot. He is the technician, the mastermind behind Boulder Hybrids. You can find him at boulderhc.com. Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be back on this abbreviated show because of a special edition show later this week. And I guess we should get the show on the road.
Speaking of that, just to let the viewers know, in a couple days, this Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be going live and covering the Model 3 event from Fremont, California via the internet. So we didn't quite get the invites that we were expecting in the mail. Maybe they're lost.
You didn't get your press pass and your first class air ticket out to San Francisco?
I haven't received that yet, Paul. I was hoping you were going to come on the air and say you got yours. So, but no, as of Friday at 7 p.m. we're going live, and I guess Elon takes the stage at 9 p.m. Pacific as well. So look at that, got the sign up and everything, ready to go. And we'll be.
I see our graphics department worked really hard.
Yeah, on that. they're quick. Just fire that stuff up. So we're going to be broadcasting all sorts of stories and information about the Model 3 as it happens, and hope you can join us Friday night. You're not doing anything anyways. Come on and join us on the podcast.
And one news tidbit that flew across the screen today was if you happen to live in California, the effective price of the Model 3 is only $25,000. So that's pretty good news.
Exactly.
If you were watching the Tesla Life, you would have known that an hour and a half ago.
Well, I was working still, but for the people who didn't tune into that show and myself, that's good to know.
Exactly. No, I gotta plug all the shows. It's just the way I am. I'm sorry.
But that probably means they're going to sell a shit ton of Model 3s in California.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. Is there's going to be a tsunami of Model 3s being sold in California.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I mean, they'll be as common as Prius, right?
Yep. And locally made, unlike the Prius.
Correct.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
And in fact, it's probably going to be the most American car by part that exists.
Yeah. Probably, because the batteries will be made in Reno and the cars made in Fremont.
Yeah. So they haven't actually done the tally on it, but there has been some rumors that it's going to be that by far.
Right. Cool.
Gotta love that. Well, let's get this, as someone said, let's get the show going. Paul is going to start us off with something near and dear to my heart.
Well, so another story this week is Bosch, who, those of you who don't know, is a huge company in the automotive trade. They make everything from spark plugs to electrical parts and computers. Basically, a lot of cars, especially European cars, have Bosch components in them. Anyway, they're coming out with kind of a turnkey platform where a small startup can buy the electric drivetrain from Bosch and implement it into their vehicle. So instead of having to engineer the motor and the controller and the software, you can just buy this basically chassis components or motor components from Bosch, throw them in your chassis, throw a body on it, and make yourself an EV. So that will be good for startups and also for consumers that are weary of buying a small in a year or two if this takes off. And in the story, there's a link to a modern electric scooter that is appearance-wise based on an East German two-stroke single-cylinder gas scooter, and I'm sure the electric scooter is a little more fun to drive and probably a little less polluting as well.
just a bit.
Just a bit, yeah.
But it's cool that a company like Bosch realizes there's a demand for EV components, and they're going to make it easier for more small manufacturers to play in that sandbox. So you don't need to be a Tesla to build your own EV vehicle. So.
Right, so they're almost like providing a blueprint or a template.
Yeah, I mean, in the gas world, you could call it like a crate motor. You could buy a crate motor from General Motors and make a kit car of a 69 Cobra or something and put it all together. And there are small manufacturers doing stuff like that, but this will allow small manufacturers to do EVs. So I think it's pretty cool.
I love this idea. I mean, especially because I'm so much into electric two-wheelers, and this is kind of set up for that. I mean, it's not big enough, really, as Paul pointed out before the show, to power much of a car.
Right.
You know, and why not? I mean, like, how cool is it that if you can knock together a frame and a controller and a battery pack, you can build an EV.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to start from scratch.
Or you could take a classic vehicle like an old MG or something and electrify it relatively easy with something like this. If you were like a hobbyist or a DeLorean type wannabe or some small manufacturer or enthusiasts that want to build a one-off car, I'm sure they'll be able to buy this as a kit at some point in the future.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So good for Bosch.
Well, thank you for that, Paul. And yeah, I mean, absolutely. Good for Bosch that we're getting, you know, that this is the kind of thing, again, to spread electric vehicle production. You know what I mean? That a big company that's got deep pockets can afford to develop something like this and then sell it, make money, and other companies can utilize it and make money. And yay, more EVs. I just want my electric scooter. Is that too much to ask?
You've been wanting an electric scooter for a while.
East German electric scooter.
Yeah, I don't know about that one per se. I mean, that's pretty cool, though, actually. I like the style of that.
Well, it's so bad it's good, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's ugly. I mean,
it's kind of like the AMC Pacer, right? Like, if you had one now, like, it's so bad you'd be cool.
You're kicking my family right now, okay?
When's the last time you've seen an AMC Pacer? I cannot think of how long ago.
There's not many left.
For the record, my father was an engineer on the Pacer development team.
No.
I'm serious.
It was his idea?
No. No. He came in after the fact. He's not like an inventor, but I mean, yeah.
Let's make a fishbowl on wheels.
Yeah, I had blueprints and a Pacer logo in my room when they were still top secret.
Oh my god!
And I was like, "This is so cool!" Not really realizing that the blueprints look cooler than the actual fishbowl on wheels.
Bet you those would be worth some money if you still have them somewhere.
I don't, of course not. No, they're gone. You know, I was 10, I was 11. You know, and like you don't think about eBay,
right?
You know, not now. Nowadays, people do. Oh, we better seal it up and save it because
it's tough to think of things before they're invented.
Yeah. Yeah. But whatever. The Pacer. Who cares? Let's talk about something fun. Mark, take it away.
Not really fun, but
not a good segue. I'm sorry for that, Mark. That was a shitty segue.
The United Kingdom has come on board with France and have decided that they are going to ban gasoline vehicles, cars, and vans by 2040. So they are going to actually ban the sale of vehicles by 2040, hoping to make a huge dent in the fleet by 2050, 10 years into it. They're, obviously vehicles hang around for 12 to 15 to 16 years. But if they do this and you cannot buy a gas vehicle in 2040, by 2050, they're guessing that they're going to have a huge dent. Maybe half vehicles will be flushed out of the system at that point, and they'll all be EVs on the road. So France announced this about 3 weeks ago,
Yep.
and Britain has followed suit. So now we've got two larger, European countries that have said, that's it, we're done. And of course, they've experienced the smog that other cities have had, especially in the larger city like London. In fact, they even have at this point, there are rules and charges that if you come downtown with a gas car, you're not allowed within the zone, or you have to pay a large penalty to drive your non-electric car around in the downtown core or zone, as they indicate. So they've experienced this for quite some time, and now they're starting to realize that they have to make a change. Diesel was not the savior that everyone thought it was, and now they're into a situation where they've pretty well made it worse. But now their switch is to EVs and to eliminate the pollution altogether from a vehicle.
I mean, this is great, but I have a feeling big oil is going to fight it real hard in these countries. So, or maybe they'll embrace it and turn some of their filling stations into EV charging stations.
Well, actually, yeah,
smart thing to do.
Actually, I think there was a story a few months ago about Shell installing EV chargers at stations in the UK, in Europe. So some of them have started to look into it. And as we've all heard here in other news stories, the other manufacturers, they're all starting to dabble a little bit more seriously in EVs. There seems to be more news about it. There seems to be people pushing electrification. And again, it's all talk until something appears. But I am at least hopeful that groups are heading in this direction in I guess, a more serious manner than what's happened to this point.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Interesting to see if we get Germany on board with it as well. Are other European nations going to follow suit and basically put a coalition together that would make this even stronger? So we'll see. We'll see as time goes along. And you're right, Paul. The manufacturers of vehicles and, of course, the fossil fuel industry certainly will not like news like this spreading. They would love to turn things around, and certainly with the money and power that they have, will probably attempt to do so.
Right. Although governments can make a difference. I mean, you look at Norway. I think they're selling more EVs than gas cars because they disincentivize you to buy a gas car if you live in Norway.
Exactly. So, and it's interesting, isn't it, about Norway, about what they're really they export all their fuel outside of the country. They sell it.
Yeah, their economy is based on oil, but everybody drives
and they just don't burn it in their country.
Yeah, so they're like, you guys can mess up the world.
We'll sell it to you. You burn it where you are, and we'll take your money and invest in EVs.
Yeah, well, good for them.
Yeah,
and they give all their citizens free healthcare, so that's good too.
Yeah, what's that?
And free education and free everything.
They must be unhappy people. Just miserably unhappy people. I feel bad for them.
As you should.
Thank you for coming to Norway. Here's your free Tesla.
Here's your free life.
Yeah. Here's your sack of money.
Yeah.
Go ahead here.
That's okay. We're just glad you're here. Thank you for that. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And I almost wonder if that's maybe too timid in some ways. You know what I mean?
What do you mean by too timid?
Well, it's one of those things that, like, by that time, that may be where things are just headed. You know what I mean? Where oil prices at some point are going to go back up. I noticed, interestingly, this week, and this is almost a non sequitur, but has anybody noticed that oil prices went up and down 30 cents this week? Did that just happen in Florida?
I think there's just instability in the political market or political climate in this country, so things are just flip-flopping around until people figure out what's going on.
So what you're saying is that the president tweets and gas goes up?
Yep. Or goes down.
Or goes down. I just think it was interesting. I mean,
look at what the U.S. dollar is doing in the world market because of the shenanigans going on.
I honestly haven't tracked that. That would make sense to me, though. You know what I mean? Like that. But gas, I mean, like.
Well, the U.S. economy is kind of tied to gasoline or oil.
Well, that's definitely true. That's definitely true.
So it affects everything.
Well, let's talk about something that isn't tied to gas and oil. There's been no shortage, as much as, and I'll just speak for myself here, much as I love Toyota, and I do, and I've owned and driven their products for many, many years. We have been definitely one of the shows that has been very critical of a lot of the things that Toyota's said and done with regard to electric vehicles. And I think deservedly so. I don't think we've been unfair by any means. And by the way, enjoy the romantic lighting this week. We're packing up and moving the studio to California next week. And it's a little dark tonight. Sorry. I guess should I move the light closer?
You already packed all the lights?
I foolishly packed my light. There, that's actually a little better now. Okay, how's that? That's better. Yeah, I'm doing the show by candlelight, apparently. Literally by candlelight. Yeah. Actually, that is a lot better, isn't it? That's silly me. So.
Well, you may as well segue into the public announcement. There will be no show for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
We're packing up the studio, moving it to the West Coast. So there will be no show for the next 2 weeks. Sorry for the inconvenience, but
you don't want to stop at the Oklahoma Holiday Inn and do a show.
Can I tell you, I've been to the Oklahoma Holiday Inn. It's not good. Okay, literally, I've been to the Oklahoma City Holiday Inn. One of the worst hotel Wi-Fi's I've ever had in my life. It was like $50K.
We just lost another state.
Yeah, well, I got nothing against Oklahoma. It's not Texas. So,
it's just the Wi-Fi at the Quality Inn.
Yeah, it was Quality Inn. Like, I mean, it was just.
Well, that's because all the rooms shared a 14.4 dial-up modem or something.
Exactly. I mean, it was like, and they, of course, we have high-speed internet, and I'm like, oh, great, I need high-speed internet.
And it's relative to the hotel down the street that
has high speed relative to 300 baud.
Yeah.
That's awful. So yeah, we're taking a couple weeks off. We'll be back August 16th, Wednesday, August 16th. Don't forget to catch us 2 days. That's Friday, July 28th for the Tesla show. And then we'll take a couple weeks off. We'll be right back. And I'll have better lighting in California. In fact, it'll probably be daylight when I do the show.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't think about that. That's going to change my life. The timing is going to be different.
So going back to Toyota battery rumors?
Going back to our story here. So Toyota's fought electric vehicles. I don't think that's an unfair characterization. Certainly more than a few executives have said that electric vehicles, batteries, aren't ready for prime time, aren't ready for vehicle usage yet. And Toyota's well known for being, in a good way, conservative and only grabbing new technology when they feel like they've got a really good handle on it and deploying it in a fairly good bulletproof form. So cheers to them for that, which is what makes this report so interesting. Our friend John Bolker at Green Car Reports reported that Toyota's announcing that in 2022, they're going to deploy an electric car with solid-state batteries. Now, we don't know exactly what's going on with the solid-state batteries, other than they won't use a liquid in them like lithium-ion does. These will be
really more of a paste in current battery technology.
Yeah, exactly. I shouldn't say liquid, but yeah. That they will charge very, very fast. The claim is, and I want to see if I can get the quote. Pardon me for scanning this news story. Quote, a recharge time of only a few minutes. They claim the energy density is much higher than lithium ion and it will charge, and again, quote, only a few minutes. So I mean, obviously, this is the dream that everybody's had for battery electric vehicles. What I find interesting is that Toyota's going to deploy some new technology that no one's ever seen before in 2022, and that's really unlike them. I mean, that's really unlike them. Deploying an EV is unlike them. Deploying an EV with brand new batteries is really unlike them. I don't know what to think here.
So who's taking over the ship? But yeah, it's interesting news. Like you said, Toyota has been known to be conservative. They've been known to get things right before they move forward with something. So coming out with a brand new technology and saying that they're going to deploy it at a certain time, that's not like them.
Yeah, very not like them.
So, and of course, we have heard from others about these solid state type batteries, about how it's the way of the future, how it's something that would solve a lot of problems. Battery degradation is almost non-existent with a solid state. Wow. They have the ability to charge faster. They're lighter. So there's many pluses to have that. And there's been many companies that have put their name on the list that they're making this thing, and there's been many companies that have gone bankrupt trying to do it and have disappeared.
Yeah, no one's figured out how to do it cost effectively.
Right.
That's the other thing, is they're expensive.
So it's very interesting that Toyota's come out and said this publicly, that this is their plan. And, they're saying, they're going to leapfrog for basically the battery industry as it sits today. They will skip, right over lithium ion, which is what's best or available or cheapest or economical today, right to this new technology.
So I wonder if Toyota has bought a company that's doing this, or has been secretly working in the basement somewhere and has patents on it. But you'd imagine that there's a bunch of people working on it with patents pending. Be interested to see what's really going on.
None of it really plays like straight. It's very odd to me. It's not like Toyota to talk this far ahead about their plans, and especially about an EV, especially a battery EV. My God.
Or maybe they're just BSing to scare off potential people.
There's that other thing. There's that whole Toyota's going in this direction, and all of a sudden other car companies are like, oh shit.
Right. Or investors are saying, well, we're not going to back you because Toyota's going to kick your ass. So, yeah.
I don't know. It's odd. I mean, again, would we, us on What Drives Us, think like Toyota deploying an EV with solid state batteries would be awesome? Oh, hell
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I would welcome that with open arms. I'd be excited.
Well, and you know what? We always say Toyota's conservative, but you have to realize when they came out with the Prius hybrid drive system in this country, 2001, that was years ahead of everything else on the market. So they had been secretly building that for who knows how long. And when they hit the market, it just blew everybody's mind. So maybe that's what they're going to do with this stuff.
Well, maybe. Right? I mean, it'd be cool if it was.
Yeah, but we'll only know when it's real and in the showroom.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Well, you guys have followed Toyota for a long time. Like, have you ever known them to do this type of a splash? Like, is
Prius.
Okay.
Right.
And then things, they stuck behind the Prius label for a long time. There wasn't a lot of new innovation. There was, building on what they had.
Improvements, yeah.
But, that's where maybe the conservative started to come in, that they didn't move from it that much. They just stayed in that arena.
Right.
And when other technologies came and as some have said, surpassed them in different ways, they kind of stayed pat for quite a long time.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair analysis, Mark. I mean, certainly Mirai was supposed to be a splash, but I don't think anybody takes hydrogen seriously except for executives at Toyota and Hyundai and Honda. So I don't really, I think that hydrogen was supposed to be.
Right.
But yeah, otherwise they've let other companies like Tesla and Nissan and Chevy really eclipse them with battery electrics.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, I think Prius in its time was very revolutionary.
Yeah. For the first few years, like, it blew everybody away.
Yeah, I mean, it was not designed to be cute, to be awesome looking or fast. It was designed to be efficient.
Yeah, and certainly it was that, and certainly it got better as time went along.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly were incremental improvement. They were big increments. I mean, the difference between first gen and second gen is pretty big, and the difference between second gen and third gen was pretty big too.
Well, but still, it's developed on the same basic technology.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's not like they went from nickel metal hydride batteries to lithium between Gen 1 and Gen 2.
Right. Right. It took them till
the battery, even the current generation is still 15-year-old battery technology.
Right.
Because they know it works and it lasts a long time.
And they've proven it in millions of vehicles that it lasts, that it's really, really durable. And again, in a way, like, we want it to have lithium ion because we know energy density, yada, yada. But Toyota's going, we're going to sell you a car. It's going to last a really long time. It's going to deliver a lot of reliable service in a very robust system. And I can't argue. I may not agree with it, but I can't argue with that.
Right.
I think that's a good thing.
Where, like, in the gas world, a lot of companies will sell a turbocharged car because it has great performance, but turbocharged cars usually blow up at 60,000 miles.
Right.
And it's just a fact of life. You buy a turbo, expect to replace the turbo at 60,000 miles, and it's a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
Where Toyota has very few turbocharged vehicles, as far as I'm aware, because they don't want their reputation tarnished by the turbos blowing up.
It's interesting how popular turbo was with Volvo, though. Another company.
A lot of European cars are.
Yeah.
And I guess you're used to throwing money at your car at 60,000 miles. So.
What a great excuse.
Yeah. Oh, no, everybody expects those cars to need a lot of care and feeding. So.
Right. And the dealers live for that stuff. Yeah. They definitely do. Well, speaking of things coming in the future that we just don't really know about for sure, this last story tonight is a really good example of that. Here's a graphic that was leaked or stolen or whatever.
Made up.
Our friends at Volkswagen have laid out a plan for the next 5 years of how they're going to deploy electric vehicles. And here we see a timeline, and we see little flags. The EU flag, by the way, if you're not familiar with that. So we see that the first one, 2019, is the Volkswagen ID being deployed in the EU. The ID Cross, and I believe it's with a ZZ, I thought. Again, in the EU and China. Shortly after, let's call it 2020. Then maybe 2021-ish. The ID Lounge, we're not even allowed to see that. That's underneath a rug or something.
It's under a sheet.
Yeah, under a sheet.
Ghost under it.
Yeah, it's a Pac-Man ghost, right?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Anyway, it will be sold in China and the U.S. ID Aero E, again, China and the U.S., again, late 2021, maybe 2022. And, of course, the car that will never, ever see the goddamn light of day, the ID Buzz, the electric hippie wagon.
Yes, that keeps being redone and redone and redone.
They've been talking about that for, 10 years now?
Yeah. I like to call this the Volkswagen vaporware chart.
Yeah.
None of these vehicles exist. There's no reason to expect that any of these vehicles are going to exist. And until they actually get some of these damn things in dealerships, I'm going to call bullshit on this.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds like a little bit more greenwashing, right?
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I'm just not buying it. Like, I'm not that friendly about it. Where I'm like, I mean, I do think it's interesting that their focus is as much on the EU and China as it is. That the US is kind of an afterthought when you look at that chart. which is fine. No, there's no reason the U.S. should always get everything first. I'm not saying that at all. But I mean, that's definitely an EU and China centric kind of plan, which makes sense.
Well, China's a big market now.
Yes, huge market, much bigger than the U.S. will ever be.
Yeah.
And they have some.
A lot of people that don't have a car in China yet, where in the U.S. almost everybody already has a car. So.
And they have some very strong reasons, motivations to switch to electric vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't
but yeah, it's I don't know. I've got mixed feeling. Many of us have mixed feelings about VW, but it's you would think with the amount of intensity that the light has been shining on them that they would rush to get a couple models out, like to actually prove that we are now moving in this direction. Maybe even limited ones, maybe compliance.
Well, e-Golf, and I think they sold 17 of them or something.
Yes, I've seen one of the 17, but they've, to get more clout behind their name, they have to have action. And just putting out press releases with glossy photos or going to the auto show once a year with a revamped version of the electric minibus is just not going to do it.
Right.
Like we're all sitting back going, you promised this stuff. When?
Yeah.
When is it coming out? And it just seems to be year after year, we're still waiting.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great drawing, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon. And for a company that has had some, shall we say, trust issues in the marketplace, I think it would do them well to actually make something.
A real car, yeah.
Yeah, just whittle the damn thing out and maybe put it in a couple of dealerships. I mean, this is all well and fine. Like, I get it. And this is a much loved design. And, it's certainly, it's probably too cliche to think that, the people who want, there are people that want to buy a hippie wagon.
Maybe they'll buy the powertrain from Bosch and slap it in a car and get one quicker. Because Bosch is a German company too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. I don't know. I want this, like the Toyota thing. I want this to be true. I want them to deploy these cars. I want them to make them. I want them to be great. I want lots of things, though. I want somebody to move me across the U.S. instead of me. No. I got this. I'm good. I'm very good. That's all I got this week, gentlemen. Did we forget anything?
I got one extra thing that I'll throw up.
You are the man with the extra news story, Joe Marcaglia.
One extra
that you're going to throw up, yeah.
I'm going to throw it up, so it's not going to be pretty. But there has just recently, and it's a Tesla story that I'll throw up in the notes so we can add it to our list. But Tesla has just released the 10 videos that were made by their fans, the 10 best videos for the project, the Love Day project that they started some time ago by the request of a little girl who had asked, why don't you let your fans produce your own advertisements? So they put the call out. We even had Matt Teskey on the show about his particular one. Unfortunately, he's not one of the 10 that were picked by Tesla. But the 10 now are available on the Tesla website to be watched, and you can use the Tesla Twitter feed to vote for your favorite. And I believe they're going to announce the winner on Friday night. I think that's what it was indicating.
There you go, right?
Jump on the page, view the 10, and see which ones you like. And vote and vote often.
Yeah. Vote early, vote often. Yeah. There's a cute little kid asking questions about a Tesla. I already hate this commercial. I'm sorry. I mean, really hate this commercial. Stop it. No, a better future.
There you go.
No, I don't want a better future. I want a worse future. So there you go. Look at that. The Project Love Day. We actually did a whole show about this. And yeah, Matt Teskey sadly did not get picked up.
Did not get into the number 10, one of the 10.
If you'd let me direct it, you'd be in the top 10, Matt. I'm sorry. I'm about to talk. Matt's like, bullshit. I'm cocky. I get it. I'm cocky. Awesome. Hey, well, that's it. Thank you so much this week. Paul, any shout-outs?
Shout out to myself, Boulder Hybrids, website boulderhc.com. Anybody in the Rocky Mountain region has a hybrid or an EV, come and see us. And looking forward to hearing about the Tesla event, 7 o'clock Pacific time on Friday. And I hope to attend. I am out of town at a conference, but I will try to find some Wi-Fi and a computer to join in on the fun.
Paul's going to join us as he's walking the streets.
Yes.
Our live reporter on the streets.
I'm so scared of that. No, but thank you, Paul, for trying. It's going to be awesome. We would love to have you there because it's always nice to have you there.
Well, it'd be fun to see what's all happening.
Yeah. Mark, anything from you, sir?
Just a shout out to the Waterloo Region Voltec Group and the Waterloo Region EV Association. Got a few events coming up in the summer. This summer, please sign up to our Twitter account to find out more at WREVA Group or at WR Voltec.
Yay! Yay! And as always, you can find us at whatdrives.us. You can download or stream our show in audio or video format there, whatdrives.us. All of our archives, including our great articles by people like Tony Schaefer. And even though he's not here this week, he's working hard and we miss him. Speaking of people we miss, there used to be this guy named Danny Cooper attached to the show. It's the weirdest thing. I remember him vaguely.
I can't even do that.
Yeah, I couldn't even do a police.
I think he drank too much hydrogen one day or something.
Yeah, I don't think I could even produce a police sketch. But nonetheless, if you have a Prius and you need accessories, Danny Cooper has this thing called the Prius Chat Shop. It's located at priuschat.com/shop. He has all the coolest Prius accessories. They're all tested by him and or Prius owners. No animal testing as far as I'm aware, although he does kind of mistreat his dog sometimes. So... but nonetheless, hey, you know what? He has 3 delightful daughters, and they need food. For the love of God, please go buy something at the Prius Chat shop at priuschat.com/shop. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy his stuff on iTunes, or CD Baby, or wherever you are. Thank you, Michael. Paul, Mark, thanks once again. Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube Live. Be with us for the whole Model 3 delivery event.
And if you want to be notified immediately, just go to YouTube, sign up, and click subscribe. So you'll get notified automatically for Friday's show.
Or take a screenshot of my exciting graphics. Yeah. I feel sure CNN's going to be calling me very soon. Hey, can you do some stuff like that for us? Because we don't have Sharpie on a piece of paper. That's technology. This is an advanced technology show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you who always show up and make the show. Whether you're viewing or listening, fantastic. We do it for you. Thanks so much. We will see you in 2 days, Friday night. We're going to take a couple of weeks off, but let's focus on Friday night. Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Until then, download us in 2.5 weeks and find out what drives us.
Cue the music.
Takes me a second sometimes. See you next week. No, see you Friday. See you next week. See you Friday at 7. I have to hold up my damn sign again. There.
Man, we're getting mileage out of that sign.
God. Hey, you know how long it took me to make? Have a great week. We'll see you Friday, folks.